The story of Job is believed to have taken place sometime between the 5th and 7th century. The story of Job has ties with the Babylonian culture because of the appearance of the devil. The author and precise time period are unknown to this day, yet some say that it was Job himself or his friend Elihu who wrote it. Some believe that it was Moses who found it in its original Aramaic form and translated it into its Hebrew form. This would explain why the Hebrews have it, its canonical status, and the Aramaic tone to it. The suspected dates lean toward a patriarchal age. This greatly supports Job's long life of 140 years old, and his lifestyle as well. It is the appearance and backgrounds that are described in the story that lead us to match time periods and the culture in which the story took place. One of the biggest clues to dating the story of Job is the fact that he was simply a settled farmer, not a nomadic farmer. So this shows that the story took place later in time, when settled farming became superior and more popular over nomadic farming.
There are very few historical and religious figures in the story of Job. We see the appearance of God, the devil, Job himself, and a few other people who aren't given names, such as Job's family, who were killed by the devil. Because of the lack of figures in this story, it's very difficult to pinpoint it in time. Also, the small quantity of figures in the story of Job help amplify the importance of the three main figures. God is portrayed as being as he is described in all stories. He is the mightiest and largest power of all. But he can also be seen as almost cruel and hard because of his poor treatment towards Job. The devil is behind most of the physical pain that was placed onto Job. The devil did God's dirty work. He killed Job's family, his livestock, his crops, starved him, and drove Job insane.
Now the reason for all this pain and suffering that was put onto Job was because God was testing Job's faith in him. Job was putting up with all this pain and torture because he was loyal and faithful to God. But there were times in which Job grew very angry at God. The thing about this rage towards God that Job had that isn't very clear or examined is that it wasn't ever God who was causing the catastrophes and suffrage. It was the devil. The devil asked God if he could test Job. So it was the devil who was torturing Job, not God.
Job is a wealthy man living in a land called Uz with his large family and flocks. He is blameless and upright and always careful to avoid doing evil. One day Satan appears before God in heaven. God boasts to Satan about Job's goodness, but Satan argues that Job is only good because God has blessed him. Satan challenges God that if given permission to punish the man, Job will turn and curse God. God allows Satan to torment Job to test this, but he forbids Satan to take his life in the process. One day, Job receives 4 messages, each bearing separate news that his livestock, servants, and 10 children have all died by invaders or natural catastrophes. Job tears his clothes and shaves his head in mourning, but he still blesses God in his prayers. Satan appears in heaven again, and God grants him another chance to test Job. This time, Job gets terrible skin sores. His wife encourages him to curse God and to give up and die, but Job refuses. Job curses the day he was born, comparing his life and death to light and darkness, and he wishes that he has never been born. 3 of Job's friends visit him to show their respect for his mourning. They discuss about what is happening to Job, and the friends think that Job has done some evil. However, Job strongly opposed them. After a while, Job grows sarcastic, impatient, and afraid. Job wants to confront confront God and complain, but he cannot physically find God to do it. He feels that wisdom is hidden from human minds, but he resolves to persist in pursuing wisdom by fearing God and avoiding evil. Another friend told Job that he has spent too much energy justifying himself rather than God. He explains to Job that God communicates with humans by two ways, which are visions and physical pain. He says that physical suffering refers to God's love and forgiveness. God finally interrupts, telling Job to be brave and respond to his questions. God's questions are about how little Job knows about creation and how much power God alone has. God describes many details about his creation, praising especially his creation of two large beasts, the behemoth and Leviathan. Job finally acknowledges God's unlimited power and admits the limitations of his human knowledge. This response pleases God, but he is upset with his friends, who gave an unacceptable answer to Job. However, Job asks him for their forgiveness, which God eventually does. God returns Job's health, providing him with twice as much property as before, new children, and an extremely long life.
The Hebrews saw the story of Job as a huge part of their culture, keeping faith in God. The values of honor and shame give out your name in the community of God. Honor and answers are only gained once you have went through the trials God gives you, and once true faith and dedication is shown. They are the most loyal to God because they know that He is their one God, and that He is the one true King for them. 3 monologues are called the Poem to Wisdom. Job 28 is called Where Wisdom is Found. There is a mine for silver, and a place where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth, and copper is smelted from ore. Mortals put an end to the darkness. They search out the farthest recesses for ore in the blackest darkness. Far from human dwellings, they cut a shaft, in places untouched by human feet. Far from other people, they dangle and sway. The earth, from which food comes, is transformed below as by fire. Lapis lazuli comes from its rocks, and its dust contains nuggets of gold. No bird of prey knows that hidden path, no falcon's eye has seen it. Proud beasts do not set foot on it, and no lion prowls there. People assault the flinty rock with their hands, and lay bare the roots of the mountains. They tunnel through the rock, their eyes see all its treasures. They search the sources of the rivers, and bring hidden things to light. But where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? No mortal comprehends its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, "It is not me." The sea says, "It is not with me." It cannot be bought with the finest gold, nor can its price be weighed out in silver. It cannot be bought with the gold of Ophir, with precious onyx, or lapis lazuli. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it, nor can it be had for jewels of gold. Coral and jasper are not worthy of mention. The price of wisdom is beyond rubies. The topaz of Cush cannot compare with it. It cannot be bought with pure gold. Where, then, does wisdom come from? Where does understanding dwell? It is hidden from the eyes of every living thing, concealed even from the birds in the sky. Destruction and death say, "Only rumor of it has reached our ears." God understands the way to it, and He alone knows where it dwells, for He views the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When He established the force of the wind and measured out the waters, when He made a decree for rain and a path for the thunderstorm, He looked at wisdom and appraised it. He confirmed it and tested it. And He said to the human race, "The fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to shun evil is understanding."
The story of Job has been examined and interpreted as a story of suffering and prevailing through the trials that God put Job through. In the end, Job is rewarded righteously for maintaining his faith in God and proving himself loyal to the one true king, even when times were difficult. This strengthened the relationship between God and humans because one innocent man proved himself to God worthy for us all.